Good morning. It's Monday, 17th of September 2019. We're in Southall to look at how Ealing is changing, and we're talking to Oliver New. Oliver, just give us some background on your involvement with Southall and your history here.
Well, I've lived here just over 40 years and always been involved in the community, including some campaigning around housing issues, so I have always taken an interest.
Could you also just give us a few pointers as to the events and developments which have really shaped Southall as it is today?
Well, Southall has always been a place where people came to work. So behind me you might be able to see a building there. It says Montreux, a very old building. That was part of the margarine works around which Southall grew when it first industrialised. And most of the old houses in large parts of Southall were built for those workers and built for other workers in the factories around here. So people have always come here or been brought here to work, and we've lived together and formed communities around that.
So again, briefly, what are the sort of current social, housing and transport needs of the town, and particularly around the centre here?
Well, out of my back window in my terraced house in Southall, I can see brick sheds with people living in them, and when I came here to walk, I walked past people standing, waiting, hoping for casual work. So it's not a rich area. If you live on the minimum wage, you're working on the minimum wage or on a low wage around here, you're going to have, like the rest of London, you're going to have a very, very hard job to find somewhere affordable to live. So people are living squeezed into sharing bedrooms, and the community that has built here, that has settled here, has grown up with their families. They are looking for something a bit larger to keep the families together. So the sort of flats that they're doing at the moment are not suitable at all for our housing needs in Southall. They are just bear no relationship to what's needed.
Now that's interesting, because my recent research reveals that there are plans to build 12,776 new homes, mostly flats, in Southall. Can Southall's infrastructure cope with all that?
I doubt it very much. In fact, I'm sure the figure will be higher. Apart from flats that have already been built up, we know that there are big developments which have not yet received planning permission. Including, for example, just down there, the lovely iconic old cinema, Tudor Rose. They want to knock that down so as it could just be a road for more. Huge flats behind it. No infrastructure can't cope. Southall regularly gets gridlocked, and of course all of this development is not done for local need, it's done for profit. So what they do is they go for high-rise buildings, they go for endless flats with little parking. It's a devil's own job to park here. We need more infrastructure. We certainly need more health facilities, we need more hospitals, we need more schools. It is a growing area, but we can't just cope with endless flats. In fact, even before this development, this area over here in between the railway line and the Broadway was one of the most overcrowded areas in the whole of Western Europe.
Recently looked at the property site, and it says that there are already 329 homes for sale in Southall and 250 flats for rent. Will buyers and renters be found for all these new homes and flats?
Well, I don't believe so. The fact is, it's about Crossrail. There's a huge site just over there, the Southall Gasworks site, where they want to build 3,750 flats, and that was empty from 1973 when the gasworks closed with the advent of North Sea oil, and it was a polluted site, and it still is a polluted site full of carcinogens, cancer-causing chemicals and other things. It lay there empty, nothing grew. It's a dead site. So all of a sudden and it was given away basically to developers when they privatised the gasworks. When they talk about Crossrail, all of a sudden, developers' eyes light up with dollar signs, and they decide that this site is safe, which it's not to be built on. There's people suffering now as they attempt to clean the land, and the whole thing is therefore driven by profit, particularly around Crossrail, which is taxpayer subsidised, but the taxpayer doesn't get any say in what type of homes are being built, what type of houses.
Now, just a couple of final comments.
Of course.
It seems extraordinary that with this massive growth plan, we have the hospital under threat of closure, we have the town hall being attempted to be sold off by the council, and we have the closure of Southall police station. Can you comment on those aspects of community life here?
Well, it just seems that community facilities are at the bottom of the list, and that there is no concept of planning, there is no concept of community. The developers ridiculously call their blocks of flats things like villages, but there's no concept of community. We desperately need that hospital, and they've been running it down more and more and continue to do so. It's not democratic, it's not what the people want, and I know similar things are happening in other areas, but I think it's even sharper in poor areas like Southall. So it's a disaster, and we need to really shout out quite loudly.
Okay, Oliver, well, thank you so much indeed, and thank you for watching Exposurebox. In our next interviews, we'll be looking at other parts of Ealing. Thank you very much.